I'm...
No! Richard!
Wow, this game is so awesome and so scary. Gee willikers, I bet it would make a great movie. Oh god, please make it stop, please. No more, please. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, the movie lovers of all kind. Welcome back to another Top 10 Wednesday, or Top 10's Day if you prefer. Video games are another major passion of mine, second only to, well, movies. So I figured for today's list I would be combining my two passions and counting down my top 10 video games that deserve a movie. Coming in at number 10 is Gears of War. I mean, what can I really say about this game? You just look at the case and your main character always has a chainsaw on the end of his gun, and do you really need to know more? Well, yeah, of course you do, because if you actually take the time to play the campaign through all of these games, you would realize that it's filled with memorable characters, epic moments, and above all else, a ton of heart. Now, yes, of course, something like this, to be done properly, would take quite a hefty budget behind it. But if studios were willing to actually go all in on this movie, give it the budget it deserves, with the 5th game on the way, the series is arguably more popular than ever, people would be rushing to the box office to see it. Coming in at number 9 is going to be Dead Space. Dead Space is like shit your pants scary. I'm talking like insanely scary. This honestly probably wouldn't need that huge of a budget, but you would need to be able to handle it properly, and if it were done properly, it could easily be a modern day Alien franchise, because I'm assuming it would definitely be popular. There's 1, 2, 3 games in this franchise. That is easily 3 mega hit horror blockbuster movies. Coming in at number 8 is one that has tried to get off the ground so many times and just cannot seem to find its footing, and that is Halo. Halo has gone through directors, it has gone through production companies, it's gone through just about everything a movie can go through. It's been in development hell for years upon years, probably the better part of a decade or more. And now is a better time than any. Halo Infinite is on the rise, the game is coming out very soon. Halo still uber popular, probably not as popular as it once was with Halo 3, but it is still riding a major high. Of course, yes, again, like almost everything else on this list, it would require a massive budget, but in the hands of a capable director, Master Chief's Tale could become one of the biggest and most epic sci-fi adventures to ever hit the big screen. Coming in at number 7 is going to be Mortal Kombat. And yes, I know this series has already seen some films, but let's face it, they're bad now. They were bad then. At the very most, you might get a bit of a guilty pleasure kick out of it, but nothing more. This franchise was in the right hands, and the hands that are in my mind are Gareth Evans and the team behind the Raid movies. Oh my god, would this ever be good? Now, first things first, it needs to be a hard, probably more so than any other game on this list, hard R rating. I want it to look like those cinematic trailers from the last few games, from MKX and MK11, really gory, really over the top, extremely violent, and absolutely punishingly brutal. And if they can make a movie like that, then that movie needs to hurry up and get over here! Coming in at number 6 is Red Dead Redemption, and yes, I know, this is a huge game, like a really huge game, and then the second one's even huger, it's ginormous, probably for the most part unfilmable, but if you really do trim it down, and I'm talking like really trim it down, you could probably have a modern day 3-hour Western epic that you just don't see anymore. An old, new version of Clint Eastwood era Westerns. Whether they do Revolver, Redemption, or Redemption 2, I'm sure that they can turn it into a Western masterpiece. Coming in at number 5 is going to be Uncharted. This is another one that's been stuck in development hell for years, and I guess you could say it's, uncharted territory. As it currently stands, they did find a director most recently, and Tom Holland is set to star. I would obviously prefer to see Nathan Fillion star because he looks and sounds and acts like Nathan Drake already, but really, it's quite simple. All they need to do is mix Raiders of the Lost Ark, The Last Crusade, throw in a few more explosions, and you have a modern-day Indiana Jones franchise. It would be absolutely insane, completely epic. Can you imagine any one of those opening scenes from any one of the games on the big screen? Yeah, mind blown. It would be absolutely insane. It's just one of those franchises that would be so easy to make into a film, and it doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever that it hasn't already been done. Coming in at number 4 is one that a lot of people probably don't expect to be on this list, but it is my personal favorite horror game of all time, and that is Outlast. If you thought Dead Space was scary, you ain't seen nothing yet. If you think any game on this list is disturbing, You haven't seen nothing yet. Super filmable, only 3 or 4 hours right out of the gate. You can trim some of the fat. You don't have to rely on your own wits to solve some puzzles. And my pick for the director, based on his filmography, would be Fede Alvarez. Why? Because he has the insanely gory and over-the-top Evil Dead reboot, as well as he did something that was already claustrophobic, and I really need that feel to be in this movie, like Don't Breathe. So if you combine that claustrophobic atmosphere that we have in Don't Breathe, as well as the insane over-the-top gore of the Evil Dead, then yeah, you essentially have Outlast. Coming in at number 3 is The Last of Us. People are dying and just absolutely chomping at the bit to get the next little piece of information on when the second one is going to come out, and the first one has one of the greatest stories ever told in video games to date. My top pick for director after seeing Logan is obviously James Mangold, and I feel like they would do this game absolute justice. Coming in at number 2 is one that I didn't know if I really wanted to be in this spot or not, but as of late, I have just picked up God of War, the new PS4 one, and yeah, that's why it's at number 2, and if you couldn't figure it out, is God of War. There is huge potential here. I think that, like most fans want, Jason Momoa would make the perfect Kratos. I think James Wan would be another one that could bring the story to life. I mean, look at Aquaman, it was huge, it was epic, starring Jason Momoa, and then you look at his other bodies of work like Saw or Furious 7, he shows that he can do grand epic action, he can do a heartfelt story, and he can also do insanely over-the-top gore. Now, of course, with everything else on this list, it has to be done right, and that's a lot easier said than done, but if done right, it could be the next Lord of the Rings epic-style franchise. But seeing Kratos on the big screen fighting all these monsters from Greek and Norse mythos, as well as these giant gods and ripping heads off and smashing skulls in, I would give up just about anything to see that. Coming in at number 1 is my personal favorite video game of all time, and that is Bioshock. There were talks of a movie being created way back when, directed by Gore Verbinski, but it just didn't happen. The studio wasn't willing to offer up a huge budget that was necessary to make it for an R rating. Again, it would require a huge budget, but I truthfully believe that it would be fully worth it. I adore everything about this game, and if it carried over to the movie, you would have an incredible score, incredible soundtrack, iconic characters, insanely creepy atmosphere, over-the-top action, lots of gore, and a setting unlike any other. I need to return to Rapture or Columbia or give me something new. So number 1 is Bioshock. So if you like this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and let me know what are some video games that you think deserve a movie. And be sure to check me out on social media. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Links will be in the description and at the end of the video. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and that's a wrap. No. You monsters. You monsters!